What is up, Nickel City Mafia? Welcome to Wednesday Night Bill's Tailgate Show. You know, this is our first episode of the Tailgate Show. I got to have a little story about how this came to be. So I'm going to put something on the screen real quick. You can still hear us. But you can see this beautiful pickup truck that is chrome bedding, chrome tailgate. And a couple months ago, you know, by the fortunes of you guys, by the supporters out there, the Nickel City Mafia channel was monetized. And like any young kid, Jake being that young kid, gets a little money in his pocket. He wants to spend it. He says, Mike, I got an idea. Let's reinvest it into the show. Let's go buy this amazing pickup with a cool tailgate, and we'll drive it all over the country and interview people. And today we're driving it out to Biddeford, Maine, to talk to Timmy Corks, who we'll introduce in a little bit. But I said, Jake, we only have $30. We've only made $30 in 2 months. He says, don't worry about it, Mike. I know a guy. And
roll it in the mortgage.
I mean, I don't know what he did. I sent him the $30. Next thing I know, we roll out with this beautiful pickup. We put the podcast gear in the pickup and drove, I don't know how many miles. It felt like it was forever. But Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm actually coming to you live from prison right now. This will not be here for long. So I was trying to do the virtual background today, and for whatever reason, it was not getting along with the hat I'm wearing. I got this awesome Go Bills hat on, but even so, the brim is all messed up with it too. So I'm going backwards today, feeling a little versatile. And trust me, I am really excited because I got a lot of plans in place for this man cave. I cannot wait for you all to see it. But for right now, you're going to get some diaper insulation behind you, and you're going to get this beautiful face for right now. So here we are, and fired up to be here. Really excited to have our boy Timmy Corks on, who honestly, Mike, we would not be paired up together if it wasn't for Timmy.
I know, man. It's amazing. Why don't you tell the story? Well, I'll tell the story. I've told it a couple times, but now that Timmy's on here, by the way, Timmy, thank you so much for pairing us up. But I remember when I started the show a couple years ago, and I was by myself. And I don't know how the people, you know, Brett from the Go Bills podcast, I don't know how they do it by themselves. Because at that time, I didn't have StreamYard, which makes it much easier. I was using OBS and a lot of computer stuff. So I had to make sure all the tech stuff's working really well. And then trying to keep my thoughts straight about what I was talking about. I'd forget where I was. I'd say the same thing. And I'm like, I need someone to partner up with. So I go on Reddit and I put out like an ad. I said, I'm looking for someone who loves the Bills, not shy, can get on camera and join me for a show. And I thought I'd get a lot of responses. I didn't get any. I got one. I got the most important one. I say that all the time. I got one response, and it was from Jake. And Jake, why don't you tell me what happened there? Like, how did you hear about it? Because it wasn't you, right?
No, it wasn't me. Timmy just sent me this Reddit post, and it said, hey, I'm looking for a co-host for my podcast show that I do a Bills show every week, and looking for someone to join me. And he's like, dude, you got to do this. And I said, you know what? I do, because I think everyone's getting sick and tired of me just talking to them nonstop about it. I need to talk to the rest of the world about it. So here we are. And Mike, my first call with you, I was in a hospital room with our daughter. She had RSV at the time, actually, and it was like a traumatic moment. I mean, she's only a month old at this point, you know, so it was kind of crazy. But you kind of put me at ease. You took my mind off things a little bit. We talked a little football and had a great conversation. And the first pregame show I did was for the Washington football team at the time. We absolutely stomped them, and it was awesome. I remember my key players from that game. And this is how it all started. This is how you knew I was kind of a psychopath, because one of my key players for the Washington football team at the time was Tress Way. And I kept going on and on about how great Tress Way was. And you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? A punter? Like, what? Yeah, and obviously, I mean, he is a legitimate player. But for me to just go on and on about that, you knew exactly what you're going to be getting with me, which I hope you love. And I'm here to stay. So unfortunate for you. But honestly, it's a match made in heaven. Thank you to Timmy for setting this all up. And now we finally got him on the show. Timmy's been a little butthurt and a little upset about everything, because it's like, man, you've had all these other people on the show, but you haven't even had the guy who set you up to get on the show on here.
Yeah, my high school classmate on the other day, too.
Yeah, right. Oh, so he went to school with Jason Gunther, Mike. So he knows Jason Gunther.
Was he the one who connected you with Jason?
No,
I had no idea about the story.
Okay.
Yeah. So another guy that Timmy went to school with, Jay Heidi, actually knows Jason pretty well. So they all actually went to school together. But Jay has seen Jason more recently in all this, and he, just reached out to him, ended up putting us in touch with him, which was great. But yeah, so it was funny. Timmy texted me, he said, "Wow, one of the kids I go to high school with, who you've never met before, go before me. Like, what is that all about?" So we had to get him on soon. So I'm glad we made this happen.
I don't know what the holdup was. I always felt like we were trying to get Timmy on here, and he was like either gun shy or something like that. But Timmy, are you a frequent Reddit reader? Are you out there on Reddit, or did I just get lucky that one day you happened to be out there?
Oh yeah, so I like to lurk on like the Buffalo Bills message board, so the Reddit Buffalo Bills, and also the stadium wall too. So I don't have any social media, so I don't have Twitter, and now that Twitter is now it's X now. You can't access any of the reporters on there, so now all my news comes straight from like the Reddit threads and then the stadium wall. So yeah, I was kind of just checking out Reddit, and I saw that post of someone needing a co-host, and I just knew Jake would be perfect. He loves football. I know he should get a career somewhere in football broadcasting.
Oh, I say that all the time.
WGR and missing out right now.
Yeah.
But, no, I just told Jake, I'm like, hey, got to do it. It's almost a sign. So send it over to him, and I'm glad that you guys got connected, and now you're monetized. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is awesome. Absolutely. So Jake, we're going to get into a few things. We're going to talk about camp news. We're going to talk about some NFL news, and then a few other things. But why don't you kick it off with what you're hearing out of camp through, what do we have, 3 days this week with the pads on?
Yeah, so first off, I just want to say it's kind of cool to have a podcast where we have Chris Long, a.k.a. Timmy Corks, myself, a.k.a. Walmart Josh Allen, and then Keith Mitchell, Josh Allen's golf partner, all on at the same time. I mean, I just had to point that out. I was just looking, I'm like, man, first off, look at us with the doppelganger celebrity lookalikes. And I was trying to think of Timmy's, and I'm like, I got it. It's Chris Long.
Yeah,
so
I see
shout
that
out
for
to
sure.
him.
Start getting the sleeve, man. I got to get tattoo sleeves now.
Oh, yeah. But the facial structure, all that, Timmy, especially on camera, you're looking a lot like Chris Long these days. Freaking love it, man. But
I appreciate that, man.
Anyways, yeah, for sure. By the way, we got some of the boys out there. Brett, thank you so much for joining. He said, man, we're still living in the 1950s when gas prices were cheap. I would sure say so. Let's go back in time to those 1-cent wings. Or 10-cent wings? How about that, Mike? That would be really good. We got Matthew. I think this is Maddie. IB Trolling 46 joining the show, and then Blakers as well. So appreciate you guys joining here. And of course, Brett mentioning without Timmy, Nickel City Mafia may have not taken off like this. Absolutely, Timmy. Thank you so much. But yeah. So kind of getting into camp news. I know I took a total turn there, but talking about camp news, right? So yeah, the pads went on a little bit this week, and there was a scary moment where Josh Allen was running into the end zone. He was kind of down on the ground, and then Taron Johnson couldn't control himself or whatever happened. It was kind of a freak thing. And it looked like Josh had gotten the wind knocked out of him. So Taron Johnson kind of landed on him pretty hard there. And people were obviously terrified. Anytime you see a quarterback get hit in general, people are scared. Although that's the type of football that Josh plays. So that was the first sort of headline, I guess, of the week, right? Another headline, too, is the cornerback 2 battle is really heating up quite a bit. I mean, you got a couple guys rotating with Khair Elam, Christian Benford, and Dane Jackson. That is a hot battle right now. And that was definitely a position battle that we highlighted going into camp. So it's really fun to see. And from what I understand, all of them have been playing extremely well, have been performing extremely well, making most of all the repetitions. So something you love to see. I mean, having a lot of talent like that and guys that are able to be rotated in and out, that's not a bad thing to have. It's a matter of who's going to actually be the guy to walk on the field on that very first defensive series. So really going to be interesting to see what happens there. Heard the snaps look great, by the way, from Reed Ferguson. So love to hear that stuff too. Obviously specialists, they're the first ones on the field. The fans get a little taste of what's going on with all that. And Slippery Sam Martin looking great with his punts. So had to mention that as well. So no, life is good. Training camp's obviously here. And hey guys, this is the opening week of football through the second week of February. There will be football on every single week from this week moving forward till 2024 February. How freaking cool is that? I'm fired up, baby.
Absolutely love it. IB Trolling says next show in Portland. At the start of the show, we drove the pickup out to Portland.
Yeah.
That's where we are. We're live
here
right now.
That's why my background is like a prison right now. I'm in Timmy's basement.
That's right.
I want to get Timmy's perspective on a couple of these battles that we've been hearing about, especially starting with the cornerback two position. Timmy, haven't had a chance to talk to you much, and what's your thoughts on that battle? I mean, Kaiir Elam, everyone thought he was going to be the guy last year. Benford started. Dane Jackson, I think Dane got hurt, but it sounded like Dane is the front runner right now. And what's your thoughts on this situation?
Yeah, so my thoughts are I don't really think there is a cornerback two position. To be honest with you, listening to, I believe it's Keith Butler, who is the DB's coach. Is that right, Jake?
John Butler.
John Butler.
Yep.
One of the two. He mentioned that it's going to be more almost like a rotational type of thing that's going on with the cornerbacks. So you're not going to really have like a true number two cornerback that's roll out there. Like Jake mentioned, maybe that first, kind of like play of the first game, that's going to be like your, not official, but like, yeah, you're going to be named cornerback two for that game. But in reality, I really don't see this being just a single player, especially with the way things are turning out. I know, a lot of people are really pushing for Kaiir Elam right now. It just sounds like, listening to some interviews and listening to some people, he's still trying to learn that zone defense. In Florida, he's playing more of that man coverage, and he's still trying to adjust right now. And I think that's going to be more something that they're going to lean to, maybe defensively, scheme-wise, when they face certain type of receivers, because a lot of people are mentioning that Kaiir is really the only cornerback that we have that's ran a low 4.4. So he might be pairing up more against those athletic wide receivers, whereas you might see Benford come in playing zone in certain situations where maybe you don't have as athletic wide receivers at the second position as well. So for myself, I really don't see too much of a competition going on. I think it's going to roll into more of like a rotation that you see on the D line in the future.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I kind of was hearing that as well today. I mean, situational, right? What's the team you're going up against? Kaiir has the most experience with press coverage, whereas Benford understands that zone scheme. And then Dane's just been around, right? He's been around a long time. Yeah. He started as that number two guy. And I think, of course, with McDermott taking over the defensive coordinator this year, he wants to rely on guys that he absolutely trusts. So I like that. I like that take. I totally agree that this could be a rotational situation. Your thoughts, Jake, on that?
Yeah, Dane Jackson's a guy that sort of has been lost in the sauce. Everyone's talking Christian Benford, Kaiir Elam, but Dane Jackson has starting experience, and I know he's been banged up, but he's really handled his own whenever he's had an opportunity to start for this team. Like, there's not many plays you can name where Dane Jackson was like the culprit of letting up a monster play. I mean, there's maybe a few here and there, but who doesn't let up a big play once in a while? I think for the most part, he's done a really nice job in the league here. And again, another late round corner defensive back pick for Sean McDermott that has developed into a really good starting caliber corner. So love to see it. Yeah, I think it's great. It's not a bad problem to have by any means, So I agree. I think it's going to be one of those things where maybe it's split up. You go 33, 33, 33. I don't know. I mean, obviously you want to see Kaiir Elam on the field more just because he's a first-round pick. But, shoot, if he can still bring that same level of competitiveness and still be able to make plays while he's on the field 33% of the time, I don't see the issue there because we have two other guys that are capable starters as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a great problem to have, like you said. And I mean, to have that depth is beautiful. Like either one of those three could be starting. How amazing is that, right? So having that depth there at corner, fantastic. We did think that Benford might get some safety play, but I think the safety room is kind of filled. So I think he's going to definitely be competing for that cornerback spot there. Let's move on to, you didn't really mention, I don't think you mentioned the middle linebacker battle as well. So I want to get Timmy's perspective on that as well. So Dotson, Bernard, and Spector seem to be the three that are battling that out, with Dotson being the front runner just because, again, he's been there the longest, understands the scheme. But is this another situation, a rotation situation, or no in this case, Timmy?
I don't see it going that way with the middle linebacker. It sounded like when Sean McDermott mentioned he wants to have his middle linebacker to have the mic. He wants to have him the green dot. So you're going to have a single guy be your middle linebacker at this point. Um, so it's kind of funny when you're thinking about, I know a lot of people are saying Tyrell Dotson might be in the lead right now just because he's had a lot. Well, he kind of skipped Balen Spector in that rotation that's going on right now. But Matt Perino of New York Upstate mentioned that's probably because they wanted to get him in pads sooner. So I think the first day in pads was Bernard, and then it was going to be Spector, but they wanted to get Dotson in at the first linebacker there. It's kind of funny. My take I want to see what Bernard can do, to be honest with you. I know he had a bad game last year, but there was a lot of things looking up with him, especially when it came to instincts, when it came to linebacker, when they drafted him. So I kind of want to see what he can do first before we can see Dotson. That's kind of who I'm leaning towards, who I want to win the middle linebacker job. So I kind of like to see him roll out. Dotson, I think he's going to be more of like a safety valve. He's a veteran type of guy. But right now, I would like to see Bernard kind of step up and be our middle linebacker first, just because he's drafted in the third round, and we've drafted the whole drafting situation with the Bills. I can get into a long conversation with that, but
Oh yeah.
we are drafting these players this high, especially when it comes to linebackers, 2 years in a row in the third round. You got to get these guys somehow on the field and just see what they can do. And with Sean McDermott's defense, you can kind of like cover up some of their flaws. So I'd like to see Bernard start off right now.
So that's interesting. I think, Jake was huge on Balen Spector last year. It's all he could talk about. Spector, don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him. Then we have our 53-man active roster show, and he's all of a sudden cutting Spector. Now, Sean is out there in the channel. He's regretting that, I know. I'm going to joke with him about that all year long. But we got the Red, White, and Bills out there. Sean, thanks for joining us. But he was the one who predicted that Spector would be the starting middle linebacker. So, Jake, give me your thoughts on that battle.
Everyone is talking Tyrell Dotson. Everyone's talking Terrell Bernard. Everyone's talking Balen Spector. I still have faith in my boy Dorian Williams to eventually surpass all of those guys as the starting middle linebacker on this team. I have not given up on him. And I know Brandon Beane came out and said, and Sean McDermott too, he's going to be a specials guy. He's going to learn the defense. It's taken him a little bit of time. It's a learning curve, this, that, and other. But guess what? His ability as a football player is just too hard to deny him any type of playing time in a starting defense. I really believe that, and I'm going to hold true to that. And listen, I know last year I was big on Balen Spector. I still love Balen Spector. I have nothing but love for that young man. I think he's a good football player. He's an old school thumper. He's a guy that's going to meet you at the line of scrimmage. And what he did in the preseason was extremely impressive. And I do like Timmy's take a little bit, though, on Terrell Bernard, because guess what, man? Like last year in the preseason, he shined against the Colts in that game. He had a fumble return for a touchdown. I mean, there's a lot of things that he offers that were really attractive to the Bills, coming into last year, potentially using him as like a guy off the edge, setting him up the middle and blitz packages, being able to cover. The guy looks like a safety. And in my opinion, like if he could put on even just a little more size, like could operate like Thomas Davis did in his early days, with the Panthers, where he was kind of that hybrid safety linebacker and then eventually developed into a very, very good middle linebacker, a guy that ended up being like a 5-time Pro Bowler. So, sky's the limit, I think, with his potential. It's just a matter of him, getting more opportunity, which I think they're really trying to do, which I appreciate because he was drafted in the third round last year. So I get why you're gonna play him over Dorian Williams right now. In terms of the other guys, Tyrell Dotson, of course, the front runner, a guy that has been in this defense for several years now, and it actually offers a lot of special teams value too, which they love. So, I don't know what's going to happen there, but I do like, if you're not going to go with Dorian Williams, go with Terrell Bernard.
So I think Dorian Williams was taken out of the conversation for middle linebacker.
He was.
McDermott and Beane. And I think he's just backing up Milano at this point, so he's learning that part of the defense.
Right, which is okay. So, that's okay. It's a nice little sprinkle for him. And I think eventually, like I said, he's such a good football player that it's going to be hard to deny him playing time. So you have to find a way to get him on the field. And if you get him alongside Matt Milano, the guy that he's learning under, that's only going to benefit him.
So you think he has more of like a ceiling? He has more higher of a ceiling than maybe the three guys that are competing right now. I agree with that. I really do.
Yeah.
I think between Bernard, Dotson, and Spector, I think they're almost the same linebacker, to be honest with you. I don't think they're going to bring anything special. I don't even think Tremaine brought anything special when it came to a middle linebacker either. So you're kind of going to get a bland vanilla guy right now. And it'd be kind of cool just to see someone athletic like Dorian Williams maybe step in the future and kind of see if he can make a difference there on that defense.
Turn on that Cotton Bowl tape. I'm telling you right now, you'll leave just feeling like a new man, and you'll be so happy you watched that tape. And I know, like, yeah, sure, it's a collegiate game, but that's against USC. He went up against some dogs in that game and met guys at the line of scrimmage and was all over the field, sideline to sideline. And that's why I cannot give up on my boy. So I'm staying true to that. I think it might not be day one, but it will be at some point in the regular season that he eventually overtakes that middle linebacker position.
Oh, you're saying this year?
This year. Oh, yeah,
Wow.
This year. 100%, yes.
Hold that thought. I'm going to try to get Bean and McDermott on the show real quick. So
Bring them on, baby. I'm fired up right now. I'm in my bag.
I want them to hear what you're saying. Watch that tape. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if they reply back. They usually do.
I love it.
Before I go through the rest of my notes, Timmy, I want to give you a shot. Are there some camp news that you've been hearing that we haven't talked about yet that either concerns you, excites you, or anything?
It's funny. I was listening to the Lockdown Bills podcast today with Joe Marino, and he's kind of mentioning, when it came to James Cook, his pass blocking skills and kind of how he's only taken 18 pass blocks last year all season, and that's his huge weakness coming in. And he mentioned yesterday's practice, he was kind of the reason how Josh kind of got injured a little bit yesterday, just because he couldn't hold up his block. And I can't remember who blew past him. I think it might have been, it was one of the linebackers. I think it was Milano that blew past him and kind of hit. Or actually, it was
Floyd?
No. Nickel cornerback. Taron Johnson.
Taron
Johnson. Taron Johnson injured Josh Allen again.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting to see, just because, James Cook is going to be coming as your number one back. He's going to be in there on third down if he's your best pass catcher too. So I'm kind of interested to see that development. How is he going to develop his pass blocking skills? But also seeing this 12 personnel, I've been hearing that, the tight ends have been in the backfield as well during these 12 personnel drills as well. So, I'm kind of interested to see how they implement that. And I know they mentioned on WGR the other day how 12 personnel hasn't really been that successful of an offense in the NFL so far. And the last team to kind of implement that was the Eagles with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. Yep. But then after that, you have to question who was their quarterback at that time. And it was Carson Wentz on the downhill of his career. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how 12 personnel works out.
He was thriving at that point. He was an MVP. A lot of people forget, recency bias. A lot of people forget how good Carson Wentz, how his career really started off. Like he was a legitimate quarterback.
He was good. Yeah.
Goes down with the injury. Nick Foles obviously wins the Super Bowl. 2017? 2017, I think. Yeah, I think it was a year after. Yeah, I think you're right on that.
And that's where Carson Wentz
That's true. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so the running back, that's a good point, because I'll tell you what, everyone expects him to be the number one guy, which I think he is right now. It's his job to lose. But if you're not pass blocking, you're going to see a lot of Damian Harris or Latavius Murray if he makes the squad, which I think he will, in my opinion. But that's a quick way to lose some snap counts. It's not be able to pass block in a passing team. But obviously, if they're passing, they're going to have him in there. But still, that does concern me a little bit. What else you got there, Timmy?
Nothing that I can think of off the top of the head. I'm actually interested to see kind of like that fifth defensive end role. I've been hearing that Shane Ray's kind of been picking it up right now. Shaq Lawson.
Really?
Yeah. Shaq Lawson hasn't been doing that great. And even Jonathan Kingsley has kind of been pretty good too. But Shane Ray, he's coming back, back to the NFL, and he's ready to go. So I'm interested to see that, former first round pick. So, maybe we can kind of like spark him again and see if he can bring something in there. So interested to see that too. But besides that, I'm sure Jake has some more that he can go over, but that's pretty much it for me that I'm looking at right now.
All right. Well, I want to talk about the offensive line, because I've been hearing some bad things on the offensive line, especially the side we're all concerned about, Spencer Brown. I guess Leonard Floyd put a clinic on the other day, and was just beating Spencer Brown left and right. And so I'm hearing negative things about him. I hear negative things about Shell, which is the other guy. Like if Brown's not doing well, Shell would be that guy they would bring in. So, I mean, I just hope Richard Garage picks it up real quick.
That's your boy.
And able to, make the squad. He probably won't, but as long as we retain him on that practice squad, we can bring him up at any point once it starts looking too bad. But that concerns me because obviously we saw that last year. So I'm hearing the same thing, and it's concerning since, Spencer Brown had a whole offseason to work on his game. That was the excuse they gave last year. He had a back surgery, and that was the reason why he didn't perform so well. But this is a different story. So, Jake, does this have you concerned, man? It has me.
Yeah, 100% it does. I mean, I think there's a reason why the Bills brought in so much insurance. You look at all of the players. We re-signed David Questenberry. Tommy Doyle, thank God he's returning back from injury. In my opinion, it may be Tommy Doyle's season.
Tommy,
and I know he's technically the backup left tackle right now, but I can see them maybe moving him over to the right tackle position. He's got the height. We love taking guys and putting them there that are 6'8" and up. So, I mean, that would be pretty interesting to see. Obviously, Brandon Shell, I mean, he has starting experience in the league. I don't know if he's necessarily the answer either, although his bloodlines are fantastic. Art Shell is his I think his great uncle, I want to say it was, who is a Hall of Fame tackle himself, but obviously bloodlines only go so far. David Questenberry, I mean, that guy was playing on one leg last year, and as gritty as he is, I don't know, man. It's just there's a lot of question marks there. It is scary, and I think that's where you kind of bring in the whole pass blocking deal with especially the running back position. I mean, that was a big thing with the Chiefs last year, and why Jerick McKinnon got so much playing time towards the end of the season as well, because all the other backs were kind of afraid with BPU. They weren't able to pick up the guys like Jerick McKinnon was able to, and that's part of the reason why he was involved so heavily in that offense towards the end of the year. So, I mean, it's not great to hear. I mean, we have a guy, Ryan Vandermark too, who was in there, getting a little bit of reps as well. And he was on the team last year. He was a practice squatter. But yeah, I mean, it's not great. I'm obviously nervous. I mean, again, it is Leonard Floyd, who is a legitimate defensive end and a guy that's going to go out there and terrify an offensive line anyways. I mean, the guy's been playing his best football the last 3 years. So, hopefully we get it figured out. I do want to shed some light on, our boy Osiris Torrance, who has been getting some reps in the first team offense as well at the right guard position. Him and Ryan Bates. Ryan Bates started off camp as the starter. Now it looks like Osiris Torrance is getting some more time as the first team right guard. So that's interesting as well. And I do believe in the theory that a right guard can make a right tackle's job that much easier. So I'm hoping whoever's at that right guard position can help out a little bit and maybe take a little bit of pressure off Spencer Brown. But time will tell. We'll see, guys.
Yeah, Timmy, what was your thoughts on Spencer Brown and the fact that they really didn't address that side, on the offensive line and during the offseason nor the draft? So what's your thoughts on him? And then also I want to ask you, do you think Torrance is day one starter over Bates?
So to kind of go with the second question you asked, I do think Osiris Torrance is going to be the day one starter. I think Bates just brings so much versatility. He can play guard, he can play tackle, so he's even an option at right tackle as well, and he can play center. I know a lot of people are worried about Mitch Morrison's concussion history. I believe Mitch Morrison is coming into this is his final year of his contract, right? Too.
Yep.
So
yes,
you're going to need someone coming up next year, and to have Ryan Bates there is going to help out a lot. But when it comes to Spencer Brown, I don't know why the Bills were enamored with Spencer Brown. He came from UNI, and he didn't play very high-level competition. I always believe that if you're going to draft an offensive lineman, you have to go Power 5. If you're going to go Power 5, you're going to have to go SEC, and you're going to have to go Big Ten. That's where your big boys are. That's where you're going to have to play football. These smaller schools, they're just a waste of time. And I think Ali Moppert's the only person that I can remember coming from a small school that's actually done
Larry
well.
Allen.
Yeah, Larry Allen too. There's some exceptions. I'm just remembering the ones.
For
sure. But like smaller schools, it's kind of crazy. But I never understood because in football, when it comes to O line, D line, who always wins? Jake, the low man. The low man.
Yeah, low man wins. Yeah, for sure.
And Spencer Brown is what 6'7". He's going against these smaller defensive end or 6'8". I think they kind of got too enamored with the size with the guy. he doesn't show that much athleticism. He can't kick out very fast. He can't recognize, what the defense would be doing. You see him missing tons of blocks last season. So I never understood why the Bills were ever enamored by Spencer Brown. He's just kind of like a giant meathead out there, to be honest with you. If he hears this, that's great, because I hope this is inspiring.
He watches our show
pisses
all
him
the
off.
time.
Yeah.
He'll
I
put
hope it
something in
pisses
the
him
comments.
off.
He's already got
Yeah.
beef with Sean too, so I know Sean's been getting, he's been getting on him for quite some time. So you're just adding more fuel to the fire.
I just I don't know what's so great about him, and I was never really excited about drafting him either. There's plenty of other guys that you can draft ahead of him. But the one thing that worries me too going into the offense, if you're going to go into 12 personnel, you're going to have one of your tight ends that are going to be on the end of the line. That's going to be Dawson Knox, and that's going to basically knock him out of the play. I think that's what happened a lot with Dawson Knox last year. Is he's covering up he's blocking, so he's not getting that many receptions. He couldn't be that versatile because Dawson Knox, he came into the league as a pass catcher. He wasn't known for his blocking, but now he has to help out and block with Spencer Brown just because he's not recognizing anything. And I think having the combination of Spencer Brown and Osiris Torrance next to each other, that's going to make things worse, just because Osiris Torrance is still learning defense, and he's going to be kind of like, he's going to lean on somebody to let him know, hey, what are my reads? Who am I going to be blocking? And he's not going to look over at Spencer Brown to say that. He's going to be looking over at Mitch Morse. So
yeah,
I don't know what's going to go on. I'm hoping maybe the Bills can pull off maybe another veteran coming in at right tackle somewhere, pull something off at the end of the camp, just because I'm not a big fan of Shell coming in either. I know Dolphins fans weren't a big fan of him coming in. I know he has some experience. Quessenberry, when he came in a couple times last year, he wasn't looking good, and then Doyle is just Doyle. I don't know. He hasn't done anything. Like,
dude, I'm a Tommy Doyle believer.
I understand that, but what are you believing off of?
Right.
Yeah, I get
potential. That's it.
Got a touchdown in the playoff game.
You certainly got Sean's interest when you're talking about Spencer Brown. Sean's been right there. Sean's basically said, look, if we start Spencer Brown at right tackle this year, we failed. So he put that out there right away.
He did say that. And another thing too, to add to Timmy's comment about taking big school players, Power 5 players at the right tackle position, that was what Sean had mentioned as well. He's like, let's stop taking these dudes that are FCS school, 1AA guys, even MAC school guys, which, I love the MAC. I got nothing but love for it. But it's interesting that you also mentioned that too, Timmy. It does seem there is a pattern, right? I mean, you look at any Hall of Fame tackle, for the most part, they went to a pretty big school, whether it's a Big Ten school or SEC school. I think the level of competition obviously is a little bit different. There's guys that are, in between too, of course. But, yeah, I think that was definitely something that, Sean had made a point about as well. So it's interesting that you bring that up. I'm not ready to totally give up, but, man, it doesn't sound great, and it does worry me a little bit.
But also, like you mentioned, Leonard Floyd, he's a pro's pro. He's been around for a while, but also Spencer Brown's going to be your starting right tackle, and he should be able
He's going to be facing those guys all
fight against these guys.
Yeah, for sure.
The AFC East defensive ends, I mean, he's going to have his hands full. I mean, they're every bit as good as Floyd. So there's something, and I like your idea there, Timmy. I mean, there's going to be a lot of cuts. There might be a vet out there. Usually, though, if they're cut for a reason.
Yeah.
So it definitely is worrisome about that right tackle. So if you're hearing this early in camp, Jake, I mean, I don't know.
It's not ideal.
I don't know what to do. So I want to talk about the wide receiver group a little bit because, Gabe Davis has been said to have a good camp. And Gabe, if Gabe just has any slight uptick in his catch percentage from last year, he has a monster year. So we just need him to have a slight uptick. We need to have him be healthy because he always seems to have foot injuries every year he's played. He's missed games because of nagging foot injuries. But I want to talk about a guy that seems to be getting overlooked. And we heard a lot about Trent Sherfield coming in, but Khalil, and I'm going to say his name right, Khalil, and that's the right way to say it. Stop saying Khalil. Just found that out today. Khalil Shakir. What's going on? Why is this guy being overlooked? He looked fantastic when he got time last year. We know he has fantastic hands. He can run great routes. He's been working with Eric Moulds in the offseason. I hope you all know who Eric Moulds is. 6'2", 220, one of the best Bills wide receiver. Unfortunately, only got to play with Jim 1 year. But and Moulds, if you see him today, I mean, I'm thinking, hey, get out there on the field, Eric, because that dude,
Yeah.
oh my God, he's still looking fantastic. But I mean, I got to bring this up because I'd love to see Khalil. I'm going to say Shakir because Khalil's a little hard to say. I'm going to call him Shakir. Shakir, I want to see more of him. I mean, he's got great hands. Look, we had Tony on our show, right? Tony went to Boise State. He's an alumni. He just said when we drafted him, he said, oh my God, you guys got an amazing player there. We saw it on the field as well. He's always that acrobatic guy. Now, we had that one catch or the one drop last year. Otherwise, he's fantastic. I mean, he was getting open. He's got great hands. He can make those acrobatic catches. Jake, what's your thoughts on him? Why is he getting overlooked? Why is no one talking about this young man?
Actually, Timmy and I were having a conversation about Khalil Shakir the other day, and it sounded like he was actually dropping a few passes in camp. And it does worry me a little bit. I think it's just one of those things, right? He's a 5th-round pick, so already you're at a disadvantage because naturally, as a late-round pick, you're not going to get as much time as a guy that you draft early on. Although the highest drafted receiver on this team, believe it or not, is still Gabe Davis, which is absolutely bonkers to me. I do think that there's still a lot of hope for this guy. I think, what he showed us towards the end of the season last year was fantastic. He can make plays. Anytime he touched the football, he was making a play. I mean, it was very noticeable and great to see. And I think a lot of people were on the Khalil Shakir train, even thinking that he would eventually be our starting slot receiver. So then, things get mixed up a little bit because we go and sign Trent Sherfield, and then we sign Deontay Hardy, and he signs a big deal, probably got overpaid, if anything.
Yeah.
And I think there's now an expectation that those guys have to play. So now you talk about Khalil Shakir, and, I'm not sure what the repetitions look like in camp, but it sounds to me like Deontay Hardy and Trent Sherfield have been the two dudes who are getting all the time there. So it's tough right now. I think he needs to make a really big impression in the preseason, which I'm confident he will, because he did it last year as a rookie. So why wouldn't he again this year? He should be more polished, if anything, right? So I'm hopeful. I'm wishful. I do think he makes the 53-man. And, I know I've heard some stories about the drops, and I've heard some people saying that he's definitely going to be one of those surprise cuts. But I have faith that the Buffalo Bills will keep Khalil Shakir, and he will have a role on this offense.
I'm kind of surprised you're saying that because I haven't heard, and I do like Timmy. Timmy, by the way, has been shouting out every other podcast out there.
Yeah.
And he's going to shout, so they're going to be happy to hear that. But I haven't heard. I listen to a lot of those as well because those, especially the ones that have access to training camp where they're reporting about it right after the session. I haven't heard that about him, but I do want to say that in the description of the video, I have both. It was, what was the name of the channel, Jake? I asked you earlier, but it was with Steve Tasker and his co-host.
Oh, yeah, One Bills Live. Yep.
One Bills Live, and I have the links in the description of the video to both conversations, the one with Eric Moulds and how he was training with Shakir in the offseason, and then he also they had Shakir in the booth, and they were talking to him, and he also mentioned the work with Eric Moulds. And it's pretty impressive. They're not too long. They're like 10, 15-minute videos. So check them out. And, working with Eric Moulds, you can only get better. So I think people are sleeping on him. Again, we'll see. Like you said, I do believe Deontay Hardy got overpaid. And when you pay someone that much money, he's going to get a lot of play time. Obviously, we know our boy, Dalton Kincaid. I say our boy already, but Dalton Kincaid is going to be out there being that slot receiver is what we think a lot of times. And he's been getting a lot of press as well, a lot of good press. It looks like they're running a lot of plays in training camp using Kincaid, which is exactly what we want to hear. Timmy, your thoughts on Shakir?
Yeah, so it's funny because I was talking to Jake about that, and I was looking actually on the Bills message board stadium wall, and it's kind of like a tale of two stories or different views. So one person may say, oh, he dropped the ball, but then another person said, well, Cam Lewis made a great play on that ball too. So it's kind of seen different ways. I think some people have it out for Khalil Shakir, and some people don't. It depends on who you like and who you don't like. But honestly, it's funny because when it comes to wide receiver, you want to be heard. You want to be talked about by reporters. It's not a position like offensive line, you don't want to hear anything about them. You don't want to hear anything about your offensive line when it comes to reports. Wide receivers, you want to hear about them all the time. And it's funny because you really aren't hearing, honestly, I'm not hearing too much about the wide receivers at all when it comes to
In
this training
general.
camp. Like you hear about like Stephon Diggs being Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis, he's showing up again in camp again. Hopefully he can translate that into the season. But I haven't heard anything about Deontay Hardy at all. Trent Sherfield's kind of like, you haven't heard too much about him either. So it's kind of questioning about what about these backup quarterbacks? How are they throwing the ball to these guys? Maybe that's the reason why they're not standing out at all, because I don't think Kyle Allen and Matt Barkley, well, Matt Barkley, you kind of know what Matt Barkley is, but Kyle Allen, I don't think he's been tossing the ball that well either. I haven't heard too much good things about the quarterbacks when it comes to passing besides Josh Allen. So maybe it's a situation. I think the big thing with Shakir right now, just because, like we mentioned, you've already invested a lot of money into Hardy. Sherfield's come in as kind of like the darling when it comes to wide receivers. Shakir's going to have to show something on special teams. Be a gunner. Maybe you're not returning punts or kicks because I don't think he has that type of speed, but you're going to have to be a gunner to make this team, I think, at this point. They have Shorter that's coming in. I know he was playing pretty good on special teams when it came to Florida. And the indication of the Bills right now bringing in Andy Isabella is they're kind of looking for more speed, and Shakir's not really known for his speed. He's known for his route running. So he's kind of right now looking from afar. You got to do something else besides being good at catching the ball right now. You got to show up on special teams because it sounds like the Bills are trying to bring in more speed into the competition, especially at wide receiver right now. But overall, I think he still makes the team just because he does have those sure hands and he is a good route runner. And Stephon Diggs, that's what he's known for, is his route running and his good hands. So hopefully, Shakir can translate that into like the preseason games. We can see him more.
I'm gonna say what Jake always says. Check out the film. Check out the film in the description of the video. Watch those links. Watch the exercises he's doing with Moulds, the quickness that he has, and all that they've been talking about. It's 90% mental. And Jake, you said he was the 5th rounder, but a lot of experts had him at 3rd round. Right?
Oh yeah,
They're
I mean, we got an absolute
earlier.
steal there. Yeah.
So I mean, the wide receiver room is stacked, but I think he makes it for sure. I'm a big fan of Justin Shorter, right? I mean, that dude, when you're 225 and you're 6'4", I'm all about that. So I'll take that all day. And he runs a 4.5. Are you kidding me? That man better see the field sometime during this year. We saw what the Bengals are able to do with those big wide receivers, and I do love the fact that the Bills are getting bigger. But I'm telling you, I'm not giving up on that young kid. I saw a lot of promise last year, and I hope to see it again. I think he gets out there more than we saw him last year.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just want to point this out too. I think, we talk about speed, but lateral quickness is also huge, especially at the slot position. And there's not many dudes on this team that have the same lateral quickness that Khalil Shakir has. Like in and out of his breaks, his pivot route. I saw him run a pivot route the other day, and it was like, wow. I mean, it looked like Cole Beasley-esque almost, and it was like great to see. So, the sure-handedness and the ability to be laterally quick is so damn important in the slot, and I think that's a really good spot for him. I don't think he's an outside guy. I think he can be, if he needs to be, but I think the slot is a more natural fit for him for sure.
Yeah, they were talking.
Preseason's going to show more.
Yeah,
I think once we get into the preseason, we'll see more of him. I think just going off reports are only focusing on some people, and we're just kind of looking for from afar.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's so many narratives right now. I mean, they have jobs to do too, so it's like you got to just start throwing stuff at a wall at some point and just hoping you get some clicks right now. So I get it. Look at us. This is what we're doing right now. We're talking about it. None of us have been to training camp. We haven't seen it in person, So obviously it'd be good to get perspective from someone who's actually been there and seen it in person. But also, we can only really go off of what everyone has seen and heard. So, let's get to August 12th and see what happens then.
Yeah, Shakir definitely doesn't want to be pigeonholed as just a slot guy. Both him and Mould said that he can play on that outside if he has to.
For sure.
And so we'll see. Good points on that. Let's see here. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? By the way, did you know that Rob Gronkowski, Eric Moulds, was his favorite player growing up?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely check out those videos that I put the links to in the description. But any other news you want to talk about as far as the Bills go? I do want to say this. I also put another link. This was funny as heck. They had Mitch Morse, and he was being interviewed by 8, 9, 10-year-olds. I put that link out there. It's hysterical. So you got to check that out. Mitch Morris was just fantastic answering these little kids' questions, which were also very good. So funny as heck. Check it out. But what else do you want to talk about as far as the Bills go, Jake?
Well, first off, we cut Jalen Wayne. So the dream of having Reggie Wayne's nephew on the team is now dead, unfortunately, unless we bring him back, sign him to the practice squad. So he was released in order to make room for Andy Isabella. Andy Isabella, first off, just want to shed some light on that signing. I love that kid. He's a second-round pick that was drafted by the Cardinals, several years ago now. And, there was a lot of hype around him. I think his first catch went for like an 80-yard touchdown or something. It was like a 70-plus yard touchdown. The amount of speed that he brings is absolutely insane. He runs a legit 4.3 40, and he was insane at UMass as well. And that was a dude I had a lot of high hopes for. Injuries have really derailed him being anything super special in this league. But I think if there's any shot of him making the roster, it'll probably be as a return guy. And I do hope that he eventually does take that position over, and he is that guy, because I think he could be a real electric factory in that role. So, obviously Nyheim Hines going down with an injury, that really does leave it wide open. I've heard Darrington Evans, of course, getting some time there. Andy Isabella, of course, James Cook even still, but I don't think he's going to be that guy. So it'll be a really good battle for the returner position. So just wanted to talk about that a little bit. And Mike, my boy, Cameron Dantzler, was the very first cut from the Buffalo Bills. So I have to give you your flowers. I know I was high on him. I said, hey, this guy's a third-round pick. He's got starting experience in the league. First off, I want to say congratulations. You proved me wrong on that one. I guess, there's always an opportunity where he signs back or he signs with another team. And I do hope we're all eating our words at the end of the day. But I think the dream is officially dead with Cameron Dantzler. So
every dog has his day, Jake. Every dog has his day. I told you he wouldn't sniff the field. I think he sniffed the field for like 5 minutes, and they're like, no, you're done, buddy. I do feel, like I said, even Minnesota fans have been who there were many that liked him and they want to see him succeed, and they were actually surprised. I forget, what was the team before the Bills? Because he didn't last long there either. He was cut pretty quickly from that team. But I did hear that he doesn't like to play special teams, and I think can only imagine that's the only thing that would make you get cut so quickly is you tell McDermott, I don't like to play special teams, coach. All right, see ya.
You're off. I mean, the second you say that, you have to be a football player. To be on the Buffalo Bills, you have to be an all-around football player. You can't just be soloed or siloed into one position only. That's just not how we operate here.
I want to go back to the channel a little bit. I love what Red, White, and Bill's saying here. Shakir is a lock, in my opinion, even if he's a wide receiver 5. He's going to be a big piece. Justin Shorter, yeah, we've heard him making some plays. I don't know how you don't get that dude out there, honestly. 6'4", 220, 4'5". Come on, man. You got to find some plays for him. And then let's see here. I see a lot of media outlets making fun of McDermott for hanging.
Yeah, I was on Pardon My Take.
This. What's this?
Yeah, so there was he had an interview with Pardon My Take, actually, that was just dropped today. Pardon My Take is with Barstool Sports. So Big Cat and PFT, they do this thing called Grit Week every week. By the way, their bus, they have like a legit RV that they take around the country, Mike. And it's got their logo on the side. It's got the Coors Light, sponsorship and everything. They were at the gas station right around the corner from my house. My brother-in-law was there. And I guess Big Cat waved him on to like cut in front, so we can get out. And pretty cool moment. And I'm like, dude, why didn't you just go over there and like, just snap a picture or say, hey, like, big fan. He's like, nah, I didn't want to do that. But kind of cool. So anyways, they came to Buffalo. They did some wings. They went to Wing Nuts. They did not go to Bar Bill, which I know they've had in the past, but they're big on Wing Nuts because they're, they have a nice partnership with the owner there as well. Again, reiterating how great those wings are, which I know we'll be featuring Wing Nuts in one of our shows eventually here. Yeah. But they then went to camp. They sat down. They had a nice interview with Josh Allen. They also interviewed Sean McDermott. But they mentioned they were the ones I think Sean is referring to, basically saying, hey, you're kind of cursing the team by, hanging a picture of the Lombardi, basically insinuating and insulting other teams that they don't have a shot at winning the Super Bowl besides the Bills. So pretty funny. It's all
that is funny. That's so silly. Come on, man.
Yeah. For sure.
Can't someone have a little bit of fun? I mean, come on. Absolutely crazy. Let's see here. So moving on from Bills talk. I just want to talk a little bit of NFL news. And really, the only big thing that's been out there for a while now is Dalvin Cook news, right? He visited with the Jets. Everyone was for sure he was going to sign with the Jets, and that hasn't happened. And it's feeling like the D-Hop situation. D-Hop was visiting this team. Oh, they're going to sign with this team. Visited this team. Always going to sign here. And I'll bet you he goes and signs for a team with a team that no one expected. And it's because they just give him a lot of money. And who's to blame him? It really comes down to what does he want right now? You know, he's up there in age. How many more years is he? Can he be a starter? Does he just want the money for security? Maybe. I might. Or does he want that championship? It really comes down to what he's looking for. We thought D-Hop wanted that championship. No, he wanted the money. So again, if someone's throwing out big money to you, heck yeah, I'm going to take that all day,
yeah,
Jake.
Of course.
But I mean, so I'm not so sure who it is right now as far as Dalvin Cook. Do you guys have any insights on that at all?
You know, there were outlets saying it was going to be for sure the Jets, and of course didn't leave with a contract there. And, you know, it is interesting because what does that say about Breece Hall and how fast he's going to return? Because if they're thinking about signing Dalvin Cook, you're not going to just sign Dalvin Cook and not have him be your lead back. Like, I think obviously once Breece Hall returns, it's going to be a committee. But, I mean, shoot, Dalvin Cook's a 1,000-yard back. He's had 1,000 yards so many years throughout his career here. Like, what are we doing? Like, you don't sign a guy like that to not feature him in the offense. So maybe he's even upset with that proponent too. I think Miami was actually a better fit for him too, especially in that zone scheme, going back home too. I think he would absolutely be the official guy there, you know, and they got some good running backs on that team too. But man, it would almost be unfair. You look at that offense, so much speed too. It's freaking nuts. But not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, there's another guy that's out there that's being talked about, and that's Jonathan Taylor, of course, because he's holding out. Yep. Could be some trades happening there as well. So who knows where that's going to end up? I mean, but can you imagine Taylor going to one of our AFC East foes? Oh my goodness,
that'd be crazy.
Whew.
Yeah,
please no.
Yeah,
it's
right.
A very weird situation.
We'll get a GoFundMe going just so we'll help another team sign him.
You know how that situation went down too, right? So he had a conversation with Jim Irsay. Jim Irsay is no stranger to being very blunt and just saying what's on his mind. I mean, tweeting it out literally, saying, you know, this team, you know, no one's going to remember, you know, Jonathan Taylor or Jim Irsay even. Like, this team is going to run off its own success, and basically whatever happens at this point. And then he kind of walked it back and said that they weren't going to trade Jonathan Taylor. They were going to figure things out more or less.
Good luck with that.
It's just crazy. And they put him on the NFI, the non-football injury list. So that means basically they don't have to pay him, which is really kind of messed up. I mean, Jonathan Taylor sort of has a point here. He does have a foot to stand on. I mean, the guy's an 1,800-yard back. Obviously, last year, only 900 yards, had injury, but still put up the numbers still, even so. I don't know, man. It's a bizarre situation. And Jim Irsay, again, seems to be in the middle of this. But, hey, he's the owner. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
I mean, they're kind of rebuilding over there. Why not? Why not trade him? Why not trade him?
Sucks for Anthony Richardson, though, because, I mean, that you get a good running back behind you like that. It makes your job a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you fearful if either one of those guys end up on the Jets or New England, honestly?
Not New England so much, because I think New England has a good running back, right?
Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson.
Stevenson's very good. I don't see them being that much higher than him. I could be wrong, but yes, on the other teams, I do for sure.
I think the Dolphins, like, that's the one team I don't want either of those running backs going to.
Yeah,
but when it comes to the Jets, I don't know. Their offensive line. Both those backs need a good offensive line, and the Jets or the Patriots can't provide that right now. I don't think any team in the AFC East can provide a good O-line right now. True. But between those two, I'm not really too fearful. Dalvin Cook, he's a hit or miss type of running back. He's a big play type of guy. Jonathan Taylor, he had that one good year where the offensive line was amazing for Indianapolis. Then last year he had a down year when the offensive line was pretty bad too. So honestly, if he goes to either of those, New England or the Jets, I'm not too fearful of it. But the Dolphins, if he ends up there, then I don't know. The Bills are going to have to try to plan something out from that team.
Yeah.
That's the other, that is some other big news with Jalen Ramsey. I know that happened a few days ago. He is tore his meniscus and a complete tear. And I'm hearing rumors maybe around December that he's back. So that's a big loss for them. And I forget who they signed. What was the guy
Eli
they signed?
Apple.
Yeah, Eli Apple.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Even and
that's
everyone,
a pretty big
all the
downgrade
Bills
right
fans. Yeah, all the Bills fans saying even more of a reason to hate the Dolphins. Go ahead and sign Eli Apple, who is famous now for chirping the Bills at that Bengals game in the divisional round, and kind of got on us a little bit. So yeah.
Well, gentlemen, the last thing I want to talk about is the Hall of Fame. We got football tomorrow. We got football between the Jets and Cleveland, and I guess really the only big question I have for you guys: does Aaron Rodgers see the field at all?
I don't think so. Not in the first game. Maybe he will for like a series in the second game, but I can't see it happening.
You agree with that, Timmy?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be seeing the field at all. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Zach Wilson's game right now just to see what he can do.
Yeah. Why would you risk that? I mean, I've seen a lot of. I was watching some of the bigger shows out there, and they were arguing that he will be on the field, and I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you risk that at all? It's not like Aaron. Like they were saying, like he's got to get used to the team. I'm like, dude, Aaron Rodgers is a vet. He's been around. He's seen everything. He does not need to be playing the first preseason game of the year.
And it's an extra preseason game. So you got to think about that too. Anyone who plays in the Hall of Fame game is going to play 4 preseason games. So why risk it? I don't think we'll see really any starters.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers would want to do that either.
No. Right, so Go Bills podcast putting that discussion to rest real quick. It's been announced that he won't. I've not heard that as of this morning, but good stuff there. That's all I have that I wanted to talk about, which this has been a lot of fun. But let me throw it to Jake, and then let me throw it to Timmy first. Timmy, anything you wanted to get off your chest here? Any other topics you wanted us to get into?
Yeah, I think the last thing is just kind of looking at that D line. Tim Settle, he was looking good, and now all of a sudden he has a groin injury. So, you kind of want to see him excelling because you've heard great things of him coming out of Washington last year. He kind of laid an egg for the Bills, really didn't do anything. I think did he have a groin injury starting last year too as well?
Yeah.
He had some sort of injury.
Yep. Yeah, it was a
so
groin
now
injury,
this is becoming a common thing with Tim Settle. So you're kind of seeing like what's going to go on right here because you have Jordan Phillips that's going to come off the POP list soon. And then you have Poona Ford in there too. Does Tim Settle end up staying on this team in the future? That's kind of one thing that I'm looking at right now, especially with this injury history with him. Besides that, kind of the other thing I've been kind of looking at is Cam Lewis. Mike, you're a Cam Lewis guy, right?
I am.
And I've been hearing great things about Cam Lewis, both him at nickel corner and also at safety. He actually he helped tip the ball for Damar Hamlin's interception the other day.
That was a big moment, by the way.
Yeah, so that's awesome to hear that. I'm glad to see him excelling. I think this is his 4th or 5th year in the NFL, and I would say even though I'm a UB guy, I was saying this guy's just a waste of space on the roster. And now I'm like, this guy is actually going to be something on this roster, I think, right now, especially with the nickel situation, just because you kind of just have Taron Johnson right now. They're trying out Neal there. Neal's kind of like a stiff, big body guy, but if you can have Cam Lewis playing also safety and also nickel corner, that's great to hear. And having a local guy there is going to be great on the team. See him excelling too.
By the way, Timmy was strip sacked by Khalil Mack multiple times in practice at the University of Buffalo. Mike, just want to put that out there. This is a man that knows a good edge rusher too. So we didn't talk a whole lot of D-line today, but he's felt it, and I think his hand was hurting quite a bit after that one.
Yeah, got the hammer punch.
Wait, are you telling me, Timmy, you played college at UB?
No, I was
he worked with the team,
equipment manager with Jake. Yeah, so I worked with the defensive line. So I've got a lot of Khalil Mack stories and Stephen Means business.
Buffalo guy.
Yeah,
hell
got beat up by him too. And then Damone Harris too. He was
Damone's a stud, by the way.
Yeah,
he's playing down in Houston right now.
I was about to say. So
yeah, he trains at STA too. Actually, he's got his jersey framed up in the rafters there. I've seen him from time to time. Haven't been to the gym in a minute, but hey, I've lost about 12 pounds over the last 2 weeks just moving in, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Seeing that chin.
Yeah, it's coming in.
Of a Walmart Josh Allen.
Right? I got something for you guys because I promised Timmy we'd have a little bit of trivia. So I'm going to ask some trivia questions, Mike.
Oh, boy. Hold on.
I know you put me on the spot a little bit. Right?
Oh, boy. So, before you get there, I just want to answer his Tim Settle question. So Settle, we are paying him a lot of money, Timmy. So I expect him to be around and make the roster this year. because I think it's a huge dead cap hit even if we release him. So that's the only thing I think. There are certainly concerns because he was injured last year, this year, and there were some, even hearing from Washington fans, like they're like, you guys got a gem. Didn't see it last year, but hey, let's see if it pans out this year.
There were moments where you could see him moving guys like mountains, but then I think just the durability was just so bad that it all just kind of squashed that and put that to rest real fast. So I'm hoping he can, rehab and take care of his body and he'll be good to go. But it's unfortunate.
The D-line's going to be an interesting situation trying to figure it out just because what are you going to do with Jordan Phillips comes back and then you have Shane Ray performing too? What's going to happen with the defensive ends? You have a lot of guys on there. So who's going to be the odd man out at this point?
Yeah, Brett, I was not with Tyree. Tyree was the year after I left, actually, and I was blessed to be there with Joey Licata. Joe Licata played with the Bengals for a little bit. He's got his own quarterback school going on right now, so he's doing great things in the area. But, man, it was a fun time. We got to go to the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Mike, and that was a freaking blast. I was Timmy's roommate, and I got a great story about that one.
I think I heard that story,
Drank a lot of Fireball the one night. And
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that part of the story.
But hey, we had a hell of a time on the road. Let me tell you, we had some awesome trips. I mean, we went down to Georgia where my face, you should have seen my nose. I didn't really know what true blisters. Like southern heat was. I went down to Georgia, Athens, Georgia, right? And God, my nose was blistering. And that team that we played, they were the number 2 team in the country. They had Aaron Murray as their quarterback. Todd Gurley, by the way, fun fact, scored his first career collegiate touchdown against the University of Buffalo as a true freshman on the opening kickoff.
Oh, no.
Unbelievable. And we knew at that point it was going to be a long day. Although, at halftime, I think it was 17-16. We took them into half, and then after that, they kind of just ran away with it. But that team was loaded. They had Jarvis Jones, Alec Ogletree, Michael Bennett, the receiver, who played a little bit in the league.
They had a bunch of dudes. Mac had a good day in that game?
So that was actually Ohio State the year after that. I think Khalil Mack was actually suspended that game, if I'm right, Timmy, because he took Fred Lead, choked him out or something like that, right?
Allegedly.
I don't know what happened.
No, he was not suspended for that game.
No. Okay. Who was suspended for? Someone was suspended for that game. For Georgia, maybe it was.
Georgia had a bunch of guys. Their running guard, their middle linebacker was suspended. I forgot who. It was a bunch of Georgia guys that were suspended.
Alec Ogletree, I think it was. Yeah. But no, we got to go to Ohio State too. That Ohio State team. They had Zeke Elliott. They had who else? Running back. Gosh, Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde was their main back.
Carlos Hyde.
Wow. Braxton Miller was on it. I mean, they Braxton were low. It was so cool. The experience was awesome. We got to go to a lot of big games, so it was pretty cool back in the day.
I just want to say I be trolling. I know you brought this up, but we want more Timmy. Very knowledgeable, fun to listen to. Timmy's always welcome. He's always been welcome. I don't know what's happened, why he hasn't been on the show already. From my understanding, he was a little gun shy. I don't know if that's the true fact there, but you're always welcome, Timmy. We thank you so much. You are very knowledgeable, obviously, and you have some great stories with Jake, so I love it. But all right, Jake, we're ready for your...
You guys ready for
your trivia? You know, I'm not a great trivia guy, but let's try it.
I think you'll be able to get... So, Timmy, first off, you were a season ticket holder during the drought years, right? Your parents were, at least? So, Timmy got to see a lot of football. I mean, he comes to me with some questions where I'm like, man, I don't know if I even remember this.
Where
but
Taron
he's
Johnson
got some
played
names.
College.
Taron Johnson, Arkansas. No, I always say Arkansas Pine Bluff, but it's not. Weber State.
Yep.
And I'll never forget it because of that, but I would always say Arkansas
Dame
Pine
Lillard.
Bluff. Yeah, Dame Lillard, same school, right? So, all right, got a good one for you. So, Stephon Diggs became the first receiver in Bills history since this guy to have 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons receiving. Who was the guy that he joined in this club?
And it's a Bills player.
It's a Bills player. Yep. What other Bills player is a part of this club?
3 1,000.
Have a guess.
I'm gonna stay Stevie Johnson.
Yeah,
that is correct. Very good, Mike. Very good.
Yeah.
I got 3 total, so I got 2 more after this, right?
All right, I feel good. At least I got the first one. I can
this
fail
was
on
actually
the next 2.
this was a discussion that I had with the boys in our Instagram chat. So this Bills offense honestly could go down as one of the better offenses in Bills history, maybe one of the most balanced of all time. So this Bills team was led by a quarterback who threw for 4,000 yards, a running back who rushed for over 1,400 yards, and 2 1,000-yard receivers. Can you name those 4 players? And what year?
Well, the year I probably
I can't
won't
remember the
get.
year.
I'm going to say it's got to be Bledsoe.
Bledsoe
Was
is
the
quarterback.
quarterback.
That's correct.
Bledsoe,
Bledsoe was the quarterback.
Henry was a running back.
Yep, that is correct.
Moulds was a receiver.
Moulds.
Who was the other receiver?
I
God,
don't
who
think it
was
was
the other one?
Peerless.
It
Was Peerless?
It was Peerless Price. They both had
Wow.
over 1,200 yards receiving, and it was
Nice.
Then
actually the
Atlanta
last
the next
time.
year.
Yep. Yeah, 2 years. Or no, it was the next year. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. You went to go
Was
play
it,
with Mike Vick.
was it the 2002 Bills? That's what Brett's saying.
2002 Bills. That's right. Yeah, I was talking to Brett. Brett got it, and I originally had asked who were the last 2 1,000-yard receivers to be on the same team with the Buffalo Bills, and that was Eric Moulds and Peerless Price in 2002. That was a hell. I mean, really,
2023 is
a
gonna be a
hell of an
different story.
offense. I agree. I mean, we came close to 1 year with Cole Beasley and Steph Diggs, but it hasn't happened since. So
Gabe's
I'm
gonna have a
hoping
big
this
year.
is. I agree.
I think they
agree.
got out of the gate that year like 5-0 or something like that. I believe because one of the years of Bledsoe, we came out and it was like 5-0, and then everything fell apart. I don't know what happened there, if I remember correctly.
I still remember the year with
No,
Trent
you're right.
Edwards where we went 4-0, then we faced the Cardinals. And
Adrian Wilson, man.
For there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough. All right, I got one more for you. It's not. I guess it's Bills related. It is definitely Bills related. You guys should be able to get this. I think Mike will actually get this too.
Now you're putting the pressure on me.
This is kind of an ironic one. So, this former Bills player threw the first touchdown pass in Carolina Panthers history, and is now also. I gave it away.
It's Metzler's. Isn't it Pete?
So these 2 Buffalo Bills players threw and caught the first touchdown pass in Carolina Panthers history, and it's kind of ironic because you'll understand once you name the guy who threw the touchdown pass.
Was it Metzler's?
It was Pete Metzlers who caught it, but who threw it?
Oh, he caught it, and it was thrown to him when he played for Carolina.
For Carolina, yep.
And it was a Bills player.
And it's a former Bills player who was the first touchdown thrower to Pete Metzlers, the first touchdown
Are you
reception.
trying to hint that he's not a quarterback? With the
In
throw?
Carolina
It
Panthers
might be a
history.
trick question, yeah, Timmy.
No. I
Yeah.
will say he is a quarterback.
It is a quarterback.
Oh.
And again, it's kind of an interesting thing. It's kind of a full circle moment, if you will.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to call a friend on this. I'm gonna have to phone a friend on this one in the channel.
You know this guy, Mike. You do know this guy.
I probably know this guy.
Timmy
Rob-
knows this guy very well too. I think Timmy actually told me this trivia question.
I don't know.
No, I
Brett
did
saying
not.
Flutie. Is it Flutie?
Todd Collins?
It's not. Nope, it's not Todd Collins. Keep
Rob
going.
Johnson?
Nope, it's not Rob Johnson.
It's not Frank Wright.
It is Frank Reich, and that's why I said it's a full circle moment because now
yeah.
he's their head coach.
Okay, got it.
Kind of a good one. That that one
No.
was Frank Reich to Pete Metzlers, first touchdown pass and catch in Carolina Panthers history. Pretty cool.
That
Good
is cool.
trivia question.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
very good. Hey, we didn't do too bad, Timmy. We didn't do too
That was
bad.
pretty good,
Not at
guys.
all.
I'll give you like
2 or
2.5
3.
out of 3. Yeah,
All right, good stuff.
for sure.
All right, that kind of wraps it up, guys. This was a fantastic show, Timmy. We got to have you on. Maybe Jake can work on the contract with you. He's pretty bad at contracts. Look, he signed his brother, Blake, Dr. Blake. And Dr. Blake is supposed to be on our shows talking about, injuries, Von Miller injury, all this stuff. Haven't seen him. Sign a big contract to a
I
lot
know.
of money.
He's holding out. I don't know
You
what's
think
going
Von's
on.
back week 1 though?
I do not.
We don't.
I
we don't
think
think
he
so.
is.
We don't think
You
so.
do?
You
I
do?
think he is.
Oh,
I love
Timmy.
that.
I think
You know
he's
how
that
much juice-
Adrian Peterson type of player where
He's different.
he knows his body and he's just different. I think he'll be back week 1, to be honest with you.
I can see that.
He's
I
saying
think-
week 1.
I think he could be ready to go, Timmy. I think they're going to be cautious with him. That's the only reason I don't think he's going to start week 1. I think they're going to say, let's put him on the IR for 4 weeks or whatever that is, and let's bring him back after 4. That's what I'm thinking.
I love it.
Oh,
and
one
Brett's
question.
got one question for
Oh.
Timmy. Brett, let's
Oh.
hear it, brother.
Oh, boy. It's a little
Can't
bit
wait
of
to
a
see
delay.
this one. Yeah. This is
Got
going
to
to be
type.
good. Yeah. I'm excited to see this. Mike, do you go with the glass bottles for the Coke there?
Oh, dude, I'm addicted to this stuff right now. Where is it?
That is the
Cold
only way to
Mexican
go.
style?
So growing up in Buffalo, I used to get the 16-ounce bottles of Pepsi. God, I love those. I miss those. But after, I told you guys the story. After my cancer 7 years ago, it changed my taste buds. And only Coke tastes good to me. There's this aftertaste of Pepsi. And recently, I've known that they've had these Mexico ones. Yes, they're from Mexico. We're not that far from the border. They've been and they used to be scarce. You could only find them around town at a few places. Now they're at the grocery stores. They're ice cold and they're fantastic. Out of the bottle, Jake.
Wow.
It's like a beer, right?
It.
A beer out of a bottle versus out of the can. Come on, there's no comparison.
There's a difference.
I don't drink beer. I'm just assuming that's the case.
Oh, I will confirm that for you. Yes. Timmy hasn't drank in 2 months. Good for you, Timmy. Proud of you.
Right.
Since Blake's wedding, So I got my liquid death, seltzer water right here.
There you go, bro.
Nice.
Sean, I think you should post your video tonight, brother. I think you go for it, man. We're excited for you and glad to see you posting again. Hell yeah. Still waiting for this question from Brett. I'm on the edge of my seat here.
I'm
he obviously didn't do well in typing and keyboarding 101.
How many words can you type per minute? I will say this too, guys. I do want to get on in the future here.
I have a question for Timmy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I needed to ask him, but go ahead, Jake, and I'll ask him.
No, I was just going to say there's this awesome game. It's like a grid game, and basically, I forget the name of it now, but been playing it nonstop. It has a bunch of teams, it kind of lines up. So it has like the Bills on top, and to the diagonal of it, it's like Bills and Browns. So then you have to name like a player that played for the Bills and Browns at some point in their career. It's a super fun game. Highly recommend it. Gridiron Daddy or something like that, or playoff gridiron. I forget what it's called, but it's awesome. It's amazing. We got to do a show with it.
I remember you showing it. I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
All right, Timmy, I got to ask you this because you grew up in Buffalo. When did you leave Buffalo? How long you been out there?
In January. So I'm very recent transplant to Portland against all these Patriots fans.
Oh, man. So I got to ask you, your favorite wing place, and please don't tell me it's the Bar-Bill, only because I think it's a crime. I tell Jake it's a crime. It's not even in Buffalo. It's outside of Buffalo. But, hey, if you say it, whatever. But, Timmy, your favorite wing place, man.
So if I'm saying traditional wings, it's got to be the 911 Tavern.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Tavern.
My son told me about that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So I actually got wings the other day with some of the trauma guys I work with at BW's. They all ordered boneless wings or eating ranch. I was kind of just, pushing them away.
Disgusting.
And I said, hey, told them, got to get your wings extra crispy, extra saucy, blue cheese. Those are the only ways you can order wings. And you have to get traditional. Don't get this boneless stuff. That's just garbage.
Yeah, no, that is garbage.
Got to get the traditional wings. But, 911 Tavern, if you're looking for hot, medium, mild, that's all they offer. And their fries are amazing, too. I know Matt, if he's watching still, I know he's not a fan of there, but I love their wings there. And that's
how do you not love 911? That's insane to me. Like they are fire. I mean, it's incredible, and I love that it's literally just mild, medium, hot. Like that's it. They are traditional as it gets, Mike. And I don't know. Are they technically though like true Buffalo? Like are they in the city? They're not technically.
Yeah,
they're South Buffalo.
Yeah, they're right by.
Well, South Buffalo. Yeah,
they're not far from my kids.
So I said like if you're actually like in the city, I said Gabe's Gate. But I would say I like 911 better than Gabe's Gate, to be honest.
I guess it would be Gabe's Gate.
Yeah.
Or Schwani House is pretty good, too, if you're looking for cheaper wings. Those are pretty good, too.
Your Doc Salt, the Smitty wing, you ever try that out, Timmy?
I've tried the Smitty wings. Not a big fan of the Smitty wings. I would take 911 over. I'm not a big fan of crowds either. Kind of like a quiet, smaller space. That's why I like 911. Yeah. Doc's is just always busy all the time. So not a fan of it. So
recently I asked my kids, because I want to do, we've done some food shows on here, and I want to do a top wing place, just the wings. And I was, my kids are in Buffalo, so I was paying them. Like, I'm going to give you some money. Go eat at a wing place, take some video for me, and you'll make some money off the deal. And my son Brandon said, Mike, our dad, you gotta talk about 911. So he's right there with you. He said the same exact thing that you said, including the fries as well. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, the fries are delicious. They have a little bit of like a garlic kick to them. So definitely.
Okay,
Amazing wings there.
talk to me about IB trolling. Who's IB trolling? And he's right there with you, Jake, with the barbell.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so IB trolling 46 is a kid named Matthew Gill. And we grew up with Matthew. He literally lived down the street from me growing up. I've known him since he's been diapers, basically. Both Timmy and I are actually in his wedding. And me and Blake are co-best men for him. And we're going to be going to Pittsburgh next week for his bachelor party, Mike. But no, actually, this is the first show he's ever joined. So some friend he is, right? But it's great to see that he's out there. Yeah. So glad to see you on here, Maddie. Missed you. And looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a great time. By the way, we're going to a Bills backers bar in Pittsburgh, Mike. So that'll be very interesting on Saturday the 12th. So we might have to do our pregame a couple days beforehand.
No worries.
Bills backers bar got shut down here in Maine, so I have to try to find a new spot now.
What the heck is that?
Their food wasn't that good there, to be honest.
You can't survive.
Buffalo Bills Sundays.
Yeah.
Like their wings weren't that good either. I was kind of disappointed. I'm like, you can't be selling wings as a Bill backer bar. But hey,
this is a good one from John Robert too. Welcome, John Robert. I don't think I've seen John Robert before. But he's asking how is Wingnuts or Duff's. Wingnuts is top tier. It is really good. I mean, Timmy actually gave me my first Wingnuts.
Mild is the surprising part. That's their best wing. The mild wing. Not even medium, not even hot. Mild. Delicious.
And it's a saucy mild. It's not like a typical mild, like where it's no sauce. There is a sauce to it. It's just not like super spicy. It is perfect. It's so good.
I would say it's a medium compared to other wings. I've tried their medium. It's a little bit too much, and their hot is just I don't know how.
Like Duff's is still good. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't hate Duff's or anything like that, but I just feel like there are places like Duff's and the Anchor Bar that are so like over commercialized now that it's kind of ruined the quality, I guess. They're still great wings. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're better than any wings outside of Buffalo, so I could tell you that. But you know, when you're talking wing places in Buffalo, I mean, all of them are top tier. Sean, I don't know who the hell that guy married or who that guy is, but you could tell him that he must not just be he probably doesn't like wings, plain and simple, because I don't know what he's talking about. You're going to love the wings here.
I've heard a lot of good things about Wingnuts, except what ruined it for me is when we had Jason on the show. And what did he compare Wingnuts to? As soon as he
said it was like
through KFC.
He said it was like a breaded but non-breaded.
I'm out of there. I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want. And that was like why really. He said it was good. Don't get me wrong. He said it was very good, but it's not his. It's not his favorite type.
It is lightly breaded. It's not like Anchor Bar where you can taste the flour on them, but it's not like KFC where you have a crunchy, like seasoned wing. It just has a little bit of flour on there. So if you like just a traditional crispy skin wing, then it's not going to be your cup of tea when it comes to Wingnuts.
What is Sean saying here? I saw like 3 channels are sponsored by Buffalo pizza places, all different, and each say it's the best by far.
So someone's lying. About? Well, I mean, when you're sponsored by someone, you got to kind of say that they're the best. But I am one to believe, like, don't take a sponsorship if you don't believe in the product. So I'm hoping that they actually do think that. Timmy, what's your favorite pizza joint? You got one?
Oh, it's Imperial Pizza.
Imperial, yeah, you're an Imperial diehard.
Can't go wrong there.
Yeah,
I feel ya.
Timmy,
it's kind of like Bocce, but Imperial.
Did you grow up around Imperial? Were you close
He's
to that?
South
area?
Buffalo
my dad grew up in South Buffalo, right over by, I forgot what the name of the street is, but it was by St. Ambrose. But I ended up living up in West Seneca. But you can't take the South Buffalo out of your dad, so I knew a bunch of people in South Buffalo.
Okay, I asked that because my kids they lived on Marilla Street. So did I way back in the day, and that's not far from 9/11 that you talked about. It's not far from. It's not far from Imperial, and then it's got Minio's as well.
Yeah,
over there as well, right around the corner. So good stuff. You can't go wrong with many wing places in Buffalo. If they're bad, they're going to be shut down quickly. Man, boy, we always end up talking about food, and
I'm so hungry right now,
and I dislike it because I don't have good wings out here. Just absolutely horrible.
I don't have good wings. I don't have good pizza out here. I have like that thin Greek pizza. It's kind of gross. I like a hearty Buffalo pizza. That's what I like.
Nah, I was disappointed when my wife and my son came out for the first time in Buffalo a couple years ago when we went back there for the Dolphin game. They tried Imperial, and they weren't a fan. And I think what happened is because my daughter ordered double cheese, and they were just like too much cheese on it.
It already has a lot of cheese.
It already does.
Yeah.
So that kind of ruined it. I need to take him back there and have him try it ordered properly. But I'm a huge fan of Imperial and Bocce.
Even if you don't like if they like a thinner pizza too, they still have like it's doughy enough, but it is a thinner, crispier pizza too. If they prefer that, so you can always try that as well.
I'm going to cut this last segment out and just post it as a video about food in Buffalo.
Hell yeah, I think you got to do it. This is good perspective.
Want to talk about fish fries now?
Oh, man. You know what? Yes, we should talk about fish fries. Real quick, I just want to say, and I always forget, if you're new to the channel, please like, comment, and drop a nickel on that subscribe button. We got Timmy Corks, we got Jake Podger, and we're having a fantastic time bringing you some great information about food, where you can go for food. And then, of course, the Buffalo Bills. So drop a nickel. It's free.
Absolutely.
It's free. It's
How
not
about
a real,
this is a terrible comment by Sean. Sean, don't even.
B-dubs.
I know you're messing with us.
What's he talking about here?
He's saying Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, no. We have Wild Wings out here. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Insane, man.
Jake, we got to get a sponsor. I mean, you're right there in Buffalo. You visit these wing places, especially Barbell. I haven't seen anyone sponsored by Barbell. You think you can have that conversation the next time?
I absolutely will have that conversation. Yeah,
I mean, let's go. Timmy, call on your contacts as well. Let's get a sponsor from either a pizza place or a wing place. And let's be honest, they probably serve both. And they might even serve the great beef on weck. So,
That's the thing with Barbell. That's what I want to reiterate too. It is as Buffalo as it gets. They still have your traditional
Buffalo as it gets. They're not in Buffalo. Come on.
Well, they're in East Aurora, sure. But with their food selection, you have the beef on weck, you have regular Buffalo style wings, then you have alternatives as well. So I don't think you could really go wrong with it. They also have great beer. I mean, they got some good craft beer on tap. I think they do offer old fashions too, if you want to go that route. But let me tell you, I mean, the waffle fries.
Wings.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that either, but I've done it. But no, don't do that. The waffle fries also are just to die for. So I think you're getting the best of all three worlds there. And that's why you can never sleep on it. And I don't think many people do sleep on it. I think once you go there, it's one of those moments where it's like, wow, this is pretty damn good. And
gotta bring cash only to Amherst.
That's the thing I was going to ask you. Are they still not taking credit cards?
No. So
North
actually,
Towns one takes credit cards.
No, East Aurora just changed over too. Now they are.
Oh, really?
Finally,
it makes me a little sad.
What?
It's a little. I know, because it's like that old mom and pop shop feel, right? You can only give cash, and I know I never carry cash, so whenever I go to Barbell, I always end up at the ATM. But there's something about it where it's like, man, it's kind of old school. It's kind of cool, you know. But I get it for convenience purposes. I totally get it.
You know, I got to say, John Robert, I know you're over there on Facebook. You gave us a like. Work your way over to YouTube and smash that subscribe button for us. Come on. Sounds like you're a big Bills fan. So join us. Join us over here on this journey. I don't think Brett ever...
Brett never asked. Oh, maybe, is this the question? Have you ever tried Combat Juice? I don't even know what that is, Brett. I'm going to have to figure that one out. You're going to have to let me know about that.
Oh. Is that a different type of seltzer water, maybe?
He said Sean probably has, so maybe it's... I'm not sure.
Good stuff.
I don't know. Well, no. The answer is no to that.
I like this too. Sean has a great idea, basically saying, you know, make a video of your experience as a Buffalo Bills fan. Sean, when you come here to Buffalo, by the way, Sean and I are going to be going to the Bills and Buccaneers game on Thursday night, which is October 26th. And he's going to get to experience all these wing places. So I think we definitely got to collab and make a really good video on that. But when you do come here, I will have 6 TVs up on this wall. I was just telling Mike, there's going to be a ton of TVs over here, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. I think you're going to have the time of your life here. We're going to go get wings. We're going to do a pregame celebration here in the man cave. Then we're going to go tailgate. We're going to do the whole thing. So you're going to get the full experience.
Man, I might fly out there. I won't go to the game, but I'll just hang out at the wing, you know, go to all the food places. Here's the question that Brett had. Come on, Timmy, give us the dirt. I'm sure you got something good on Jake.
He's got plenty of these.
I mean, should I just go when we first met each other and how we became
friends?
Yeah.
Do that one. This is a really good. I was telling Mike a little bit about that today. So tell that one.
So Jake and I worked for the UB football team as equipment managers. So it was my second year, Jake's first year. So it was during like the summer training camp, and afterwards, you usually have a meal. It was actually surf and turf, and Jake actually bypassed it and said, "Oh, I got to go home." He had to see his now wife but girlfriend, Riley.
Oh no.
So, but
Big time.
So all the rest of the boys are sat up there and eating, and I had to leave to go take care of my puppy. And I'm walking down, and I see Jake in the parking lot. I'm like, and this is like 20 minutes later. I'm like, Jake, what are you still doing here? He's like, I think I got a flat tire. I was like, really? Let me see. So he goes over, he points over to his tire, and didn't look flat to me at all. But you could see like the rubber kind of worn away. You could see like almost like the yarn threads underneath the tire. I'm like,
it was
that
showing
doesn't look
cord.
good. Yeah, it was showing cord. Exactly. That's
Not
what I meant.
good.
Anyways, so I'm like, I don't think that's flat though, but it doesn't look good. Let me look at the other tires. And then I looked around and I see that's the flat tire over there, Jake, the one that actually doesn't have air. So he didn't realize which one was his flat tire. I don't think he checked his other ones.
Goodness.
And I'm like, do you know how to change your tire? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, I know how to change it. Do you have a spare? And Jake goes, no, I checked. I don't have a spare tire. I was like, your car doesn't have a spare tire? He goes, no. I was like, all right, well, I got AAA. We'll go ahead. I'll use my AAA. We'll get you picked up and we'll go. So then I'm standing there waiting for Jake. Everyone that's on the team and everyone else is starting to leave. It's just Jake and I standing there. AAA finally shows up. Guy comes out and goes, you got a spare tire in that car? And Jake goes, no, man, I checked. I don't have a spare tire. He's like, hold on one second. Let me check. So he opens the trunk, looks underneath the bed, and there's a spare tire underneath. And I swear, I was like, I was cussing him out in my head. I'm like, this guy, it's making me look bad.
Made you look like an idiot.
My manhood is now being tested too on top of Jake's.
You imagine what mine was. I mean, yeah, at that time, I had no clue. Not a clue in the
Jake,
world.
what was going on? Had you been drinking beforehand or what the heck?
No, I wasn't even drinking. I wasn't even
Jake's
concussed.
just been pampered his whole entire life.
Oh my God.
You know what?
He's
Listen,
never
now I
changed
know
a
how
tire
to.
in his life.
We've
I
all
can
had
change
to
a tire
a
now.
tire.
Yeah, I know. It was bad. It was. I was 18. I was young.
All
actually
right.
19.
No, you're 19 at that point.
I can understand that a little bit, maybe, but not knowing there's a spare or even where to look to see if there's
No idea.
really a spare.
No clue.
Yeah.
No idea. Yeah, didn't even know my own vehicle. I mean, that was a tough moment for me. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then we rode back home on a AAA truck together all the way to Hamburg for 30 minutes. He's Jake's not even talking to me anymore. He's just talking to the AAA truck driver. And
so
we
I
drive
become
all the way
best friends
back
with
up.
everyone I meet. Yeah, I mean, it's
That's just how you are. Yeah. Sean says Mrs. Podger must be special. She wasn't Mrs. Podger then. I chose her over surf and turf. That's a tough decision, my friend, especially when you're not married. Surf and turf, come on, man.
I know it. And the food was good.
And then you ended up not even
catered.
You could have just stayed and ate, right? So it ended up.
I should have.
Stayed with the boys and had some surf and turf. It was lobster too. It wasn't even shrimp.
Oh no!
Tough look for me. That day. I mean, wasn't really for the boys. Didn't even know. My manhood really tested that day.
Yeah,
that's pretty tough.
And there's been other stories too. Even just football managers. When we flew to Boise, Jake thought he lost his keys in the snow.
Oh no!
On the bus ride there, our bus ride to the airport in Buffalo. So we're flying out to Boise. Jake leans over and goes, I think I lost my keys in the snow. I'm like, I can't find it in my backpack. It's not in my pockets. So then he calls his dad, Big Al, and then Big Al's like, all right. He goes out there, and poor guy's out there just digging through a snow pile, looking for the keys.
He left his work to go over there to check. He's like, I got to find these. And
so you guys had already took off. You were gone.
Oh, we were in Boise. We were on a plane to Boise.
And he's out there, poor Big Al, going through snow, trying to find keys.
Big Al's done a lot for Jake Podger. Let me just put it that way.
So what happened? Did you end up? Is it really that you didn't lose them? They were somewhere else, Jake? Or what?
Well, turns out I got home, and a couple weeks later, I was going through my suitcase for whatever reason, and they were in like the very front pocket, but they were stuffed in there. I mean, you couldn't really. Such an idiot. So I had a hard time.
Big Al.
Yeah.
I wonder how much time. So he had to drive to the airport.
He went up there multiple times, Mike. Not one time.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, luckily for us, our car was actually parked at the UB facility, so it was in the parking lot at least there. But still, I mean, he had to go he was working in Cheektowaga, worked there, left work, came over, looked for it, couldn't find it. Then he went all the way home to get my spare key, brought that back, put it like on the inside of my tire, just so it would stay there or whatever, right? Because the car was locked, and or actually maybe he opened it. I forget what it was, but anyways, nonetheless, it's a lot of travel back and forth for him. So appreciative of that. And now he's in Alaska right now, having the time of his life. My mom and him are out there having a freaking blast right now. So shout out to them.
I was going to ask where they've been. I haven't seen Big Al.
They've been gone for a week and a half now. Yeah, they've been in Alaska, and they were on a cruise for the first half, and now they're driving around and going to a bunch of different places. And yeah, they're retired. They're having a great time.
So Brett's asking if that was part of the concussion, because you had suffered a concussion in college, right? So
no, I was healthy at that point.
Oh,
no, my concussion was at John Carroll, right? So I came to UB with full intentions, of course, of being a walk-on there and going and playing for him and all that good stuff. And at the time when you transfer from one level to another, so John Carroll was a Division III school. When you transfer from Division III to Division I, you have to wait a year in between, which is really odd because you think transferring up shouldn't matter. It should be the other way around, right? So that was the college rules back in the day. So during that time period, I wanted to be involved with the team in some aspect. And Coach Quinn, Jeff Quinn was the coach at the time. He had kind of a rule, like if you're going to be a walk-on or, if you're going to be on this team, you had to serve in some capacity as like an equipment manager. So that's what I did. That's how I met Timmy, and hey, the rest is history. And after that, I did do a workout and I was feeling great, and I was definitely not in playing shape at the time. They still offered me a shot to come out and play for them in the spring. And at that point I said, guys, you know what? I think I'm good. We're working here. I'm doing everything I would be doing without getting my head kicked in on a daily basis. So thank you so much, but I'm going to stay where I'm at. And the rest is history. So, yeah.
Man, that's just two stories in about 10, 15 minutes. I'm sure Timmy's got a bunch.
Oh, there's so many stories.
We can write a book about Jake Hodges stories.
They would dare me. And listen, I'm a huge eater. So on all of our trips, we would go out and we got per diem. I would always spend my per diem and then some, right? So I would buy the biggest steak I could make or I could find, and I would eat that steak. They would always dare me to do these different things. It was great.
Food challenges.
Food challenges. Yeah, that was me. Yeah. And I got really fat. But I was doing enough where I could, kind of keep it off, and then I got a desk job, and here we are. So, yeah.
Well, good stuff, man. I love these stories. We can do shows just about Jake's stories with Timmy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your other friends, Ian, I'm sure they all have
we got
a lot more than me. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's kind of it. I mean, an hour and 33 minutes is our norm. Funny. But Timmy, thank you so much, man. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope you do join us again. We'll anytime. Open invitation. You just tell Jake, hey, I'm itching to get back on. Maybe this, inspires you a little bit. And you're like, Jake, I love it. Let me get back in front of the camera. You're a good-looking man, obviously, just like Jake.
First long. Yeah.
This could be a second, I don't know it sounds like you're in the medical field. Is that what I picked up on?
Yeah, medical device sales.
Is that why you moved out there to Maine? Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, I did hear that you listen to a lot of podcasts. I hope Nickel City Mafia is your first stop for all your Bills info. We appreciate you very much. Jake, closing thoughts, and then let's get out of here, man.
No, it was great to do a show with Timmy. Love it. I think we need to do our college football podcast idea too. We were talking about doing a little bit of that too, Mike, because we got to bring some college football into the show.
Power 5 podcast,
hey.
Yeah, we should do our Power 5 podcast. Probably make that a separate show on the Nickel City Mafia channel. So that should be something in the future. And no, it was a pleasure. Freaking love it, and love you guys. And it was great talking shop. And yeah, I mean tomorrow, guys, we got football on. So just embrace it and love it for what it is. I know a lot of backups are going to be playing, but I always say preseason is actually my favorite season. So I know I'm a psycho for saying that, but this is where you find all your sleepers.
Well, thanks again. Where else can you find Bills information and good food information? Nowhere else other than this channel right here. So again, give us a like, give us a comment, man. Tell us your favorite places. We always ask people their favorite wing place in Buffalo. Don't tell me somewhere else, outside of the Buffalo area. And again, I guess I'll give you Barbill. It's not that far from Buffalo, but give me your favorite wing place, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you Sunday on the Sunday night show, Bills Talk. Then. So again, thanks Timmy, thanks Jake. Go Bills.
Thank you.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills, baby.